And what's going on, fellow humans and resellers? This is I, James, RedemptionAgency.com. 22 years selling full-time on eBay and a few months selling on Posh. Kinda. Been selling on Posh for a couple of years, but just I've got more on now than I ever had before. But anyway, I want to talk about another pattern that it's been a long time noticed, but I think I feel comfortable with talking about it now because it's happened so many times. But I still don't have a theory. Well, I got a theory, but I don't know. Anyway, so yesterday, sales were good. I mean, what was it, at 5:36 when I did that one video? I hit 500. So the old way, before all these eBay issues, my standard of the day on how it was going to end was, do I have $500 by 5 o'clock? And usually I'm nowhere near that since these website issues and whatever else is going on. So yesterday I was closer than I have been in a while. So I'm like, all right, well, this is good. I should get to $800 today. I haven't hit $800. I haven't hit over $700 since October 5th, and that was $950. And that was the only day I even made it over 700. 700 plus was always a common thing, even a year ago. So I think that downturn from 7 to like 6 is probably economy based, and not just the errors on eBay. It could be a mix of everything, but so I thought, well, I'm going to at least get to $700. So at 5:36 I had 503. At 6:36 I had 503. At 7:36 I had 503. At 8:36 I had like 530. Or 530. Yeah, I did a few dollars more, so 530. So it kind of just shut off after 530 for me. And then after, was it the 9 o'clock hour, started kicking back on again. Let's see here. Yeah, right about the 9 o'clock hour. Technically 8:50. I sold 2 items. Then it shut off for another hour. And then 10 o'clock. After 10:30, it kicked on. I sold several. Sold a couple in the 11 o'clock hour. One in the 12 o'clock. And then it shut off until 4 o'clock this morning. A little after 4. So I was doing good up until then. And then offers. I went from... So I guess they still haven't got the offer part fixed yet. My last offer last night was 7:45 p.m. and another one did not start coming in until 4:30 this morning. So it looks like whatever they did overnight, shutting it down or whatever, about 4 o'clock Central Time is when they turned the site back on or whatever they did, took it down for maintenance or whatever for me. And that's going to kind of lead into the pattern. So as you know, I see all these patterns like I just showed you there, where sales and offers kick back on about 4 o'clock to 4:30 with being blanked. You're usually not blanked, at least me, with the amount of items I have. Usually not blanked at 2, 3 in the morning, and then all of a sudden 4 o'clock things kick back on. You know what I mean? There's a better chance of things selling at 2, because that's only midnight in California, than it is at 4, which is 2:30 in California. So those are the weird patterns that I pick up on. And I can tell that something is going on between those hours. And I just attribute it to eBay maintaining or updating the website. And it kind of pulls my store off. It makes it unavailable or something to that effect. Details I'm not technical enough to get into, but so another pattern I've noticed, and yesterday was kind of the last indication of it, that I go, okay, there's something to this. So as you guys, some of you guys say, when I appear to be off, you're off, and then others are the opposite. So there appears to be two separate things going on, at least, at minimum. People here and people here. And it seems like a switch. So I have noticed, and I've been using the down detector to track this. When I'm off, or lower key, let's just say, down detector does not spike as much. There's not people on there clicking, hey, there's a problem, there's a problem. If you don't know down detector is something where you have to physically go in and click a button if you're having an issue. So when I'm having issues, the pings are very low. When I'm having a good day, the pings are very high. What that is kind of telling me is that, yes, there's at least two separate things going along with the split, up and down. But I, and whoever else is with me when I'm having issues, are on the minority. At least when it comes to people going to click that down detector, I'm on the minority. Because when I'm having problems, there's not many people clicking, there's a problem. When I'm doing good, like I remember the last one was October 5th, that $900 day. When I was doing good, it was pinging. So it appears to be there's more people at least on the good than the bad. But there is a switch going on, it appears. So just another little piece of, another pattern to throw into the theory of whether that's a server switch, whether that's an algorithm switch, whatever the case may be, I don't know. But there's clearly a switch. Now, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's eBay purposely doing it to give everybody equal sales, because that don't seem right, because not everybody sells the exact same thing. So I've never bought into that. And coming off of, I haven't had something that said server failure in quite a while. So is that stuff just, so I always attribute it to servers problems. But now that I haven't got a server error in a while, maybe that's not the answer. So I'm not sure, but that's just another pattern that kind of throws into that theory of a switch turning on and off. And like I said, I've been following that pattern for about 3 months now. So ever since I was doing the videos, and if you watch the videos back a few months ago, I was looking at the down detector almost daily on the video. That's when I started taking in that information and watching the patterns. So I don't know what to make of it. You can give me your theories below. And then maybe something else will click in my head and say, aha, or not. So, because a lot of my information is subliminal, if you will. And it usually takes something to make it click and see a pattern. So if you have something to add to that, let me know below. All right. So that was my thing for the day. So let's do some questions and comments and what have you. And got some Posh, got some eBay. And I got up at 5 today, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make myself go back and lay down again. because I don't want to get my body worn down before vacation. So I went back, laid down, and made myself kind of fall back asleep. So right now is 9:21, and I am at, oh, I didn't even get to the numbers. Sorry about that. 9:21, I'm at $134. So kind of starting on the same boat as I did yesterday, even though I had that shutdown. That's a positive because that's 2 days in a row, and usually that has not happened 2 days in a row in a very long time. I'm only 6.3 down now. So close to that 5% where I'm going to see if it gets shut off at 5% again, or if I'm actually going to be able to beat that 5% down. I want to say, and I hope I'm not jinxing it, I want to say I'm going to beat it this time because the past 14 days, 12 days, past 12 days have been a little bit different than prior. And that little bit different is a positive thing. Been seeing a little bit more consistency. And like I said, whether that's on the technical side or whether that's more shoppers getting deeper into fourth quarter, speculation is up to you. That being said, like I said, I haven't seen a server failure in a while. I have had an item fail, but so maybe they just changed the wording so it doesn't say server failure anymore. But when listing an item, and it's been very few and far between though the last 12 days, maybe 4 or 5 times, which is a lot less than I was experiencing. So yesterday I ended up making it to $635. So still didn't hit that 700 where I thought I was going to. And I would have if I didn't have that weird window of about 3 hours. So $134 at 9:23 a.m. So I can be happy with that. Let's see here. A little bluebird. Such a bummer. I see we all are in a similar boat. 6 sales on Tuesday. No sales or watchers Wednesday. But we keep hustling. Keep on hustling. Most of the people going to the reseller rally are just stroking their egos. Winter is coming. Better off sourcing and stocking up. Most of these folks going rely on their social media for income anyway. So I've made a goofy statement yesterday, and then I put who's got time to go to rallies and conventions? And it was more based on a mental thing. Like I always feel guilty for leaving and not working. But yeah, the rallies is big for the social media part of the YouTube thing. And that's what it is. And maybe that's why I don't feel inclined to ever go to any, because I've never been the popular boy on campus in my entire life. And I used to always just be the person who was friends with everybody, did and sat where I wanted to, and just did my own thing. That's kind of just been my whole life. So I kind of feel the same way on YouTube. Like I don't fit in with anybody. I feel like an oddball, an outcast to the whole eBay YouTube community part of it. Of course, there's people I like more than others, or respect more than others, or I won't say respect more than others. I'll say know more than others. How about that? Because I interacted with them more. So that's not saying nothing negative about anybody else. Just, like I interacted more with Marcus, from Dixon's Pickens, and Kristen and Angie from Angie Resells, and Rural Squirrel, And then there's people like Paul, Philly Flipper, who's in Florida, who just got engaged. Congratulations. Who's a great person, and I've interacted with a few times, in chat or whatever. But just, I don't put myself out there enough, to be like, I don't know. I'm not very social, I guess you could say. I'm usually not comfortable in social situations. So it's probably just the main reason I stick to myself for the majority. I mean, if people come at me and like initiate things, and then I know who you are and what you're about, then I'm more open and friendly and whatever. But I usually don't like initiate that kind of stuff. I'm more of the person, if I pass you, I'll smile at you to make you smile, but I don't want to stop for a conversation. That's basically me. So, change the title, James. It should say items most won't touch, not items most won't touch. Must. Wait. Oh, did I type it wrong? I put must instead of most. That's funny. Boo, 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 boo. Which one was that on? Must. That is funny. Let me edit that. That's so funny. I misspell everything. And if I don't go back and, or not just misspell, I just have a problem with words and numbers in general. Whoops. Let me thank you for that. Like I'm always like almost like a dyslexia thing. I'm always mixed, flipping numbers, flipping letters. I'll have instances where I've spelled a certain any word so many times I know how to spell it, but yet I'll have a brain fart where I can't spell it, and I'm like, what? And I have to sit there literally for about 30 seconds to figure out how to spell it. And I don't like go Google because I know it's a common word that I know how it's spelled, so I just force myself to think it and do it. And so I don't know what's wrong with something in my brain that doesn't process properly. So I'm always writing words that I'm not even like. If I start to type a sentence, I could type it and it not be exactly what I was thinking to type. It could be something not totally different, but have a couple of words that are just like, I look at it and go, why the hell did I type that? And I have to go back and change it. So most of the stuff I know to proofread, but sometimes I don't. So I don't know what's messed up in my brain that makes those connections not come through all the time. I mean, there's times where I will put a sentence and the word will be totally left field of what I typed than what I was thinking I was typing. Totally left field, and just totally stuns me and makes me think there's something, really wrong that could cause, lead to future problems. Scary things when a word is just totally out of left field. I'm like, where did that come from? So it happens. So forgive me if I do mess things up like that, because it does happen. It will happen, and does happen. So. Most politicians, officials, leaders, company executives are not able to fulfill every promise made or achieve every goal set. The best we can expect, in my opinion, is genuine effort toward those things. True. What is this? I don't recall a promise made to heal racial relations that would be equivalent to solving world hunger. Oh, I made that comment, I guess. I made a comment about when Obama was in, how it felt like he was going to, how I made the comment that race was more of a factor after he left than before he was in. And that was head scratcher for me. Like, the first African American biracial president, you would think would, but yet at the end of it, it was worse. And it's what's even sadder is they say it's worse today than it was in the 80s when I've lived in both decades, and I can tell you 100%. No, racial crap was prevalent in the 80s. A lot more than it is today. A lot more. But yet everybody wants to make it seem like we're not headed in the right direction. And that's mainly because that's what sells. Just like YouTube. When I put out a negative connotation on my video, that thing will go crazy. If I stick more with happiness, sales, blah, 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 it's suppressed. Same thing with the news media. Only they have to make the money or they're out of business. If I had to rely on YouTube to make the money, guess what? At least every thumbnail and title would be negative, even if the content wasn't. So that's why I sometimes kind of play with the thumbnail and let you guys know what I'm going to do with it, just because it's going to be totally opposite of what's in the video, and let you know why I'm doing it. So, because that's what sells. That's why I just don't trust anybody, anything, any of that crap. Keep to myself. What the F happened to Poshmark? No sales here in 7 days. What the hell? I have noticed this with Poshmark, and it's not 100. I'll give it to you because it won't hurt. It's not 100% foolproof pattern, but I've noticed on days where I don't community share for others that I haven't got sales. Now, are those intertwined somehow in their algorithm? I don't know yet. I haven't been on Posh long enough, but I do, and it could have been a coincidence. But I did have those 2 days in a row where I had no sales. I've only had 3 days this month of no sales. And I can't remember the first one, but at least 2 of those days I did not community share. Every other day, I'm pretty sure I community shared every other day. So, do they go and play hand in hand? I'm not sure yet. I don't have detailed enough pattern in my head to say yes or no. But community sharing helps other people anyway, so it won't hurt. And it could just been a coincidence. So, how can they go on vacation or go to a conference? It's called employees or family friends fill in to let their stores go on vacation. Choices. Well, I know. It was more of a mental thing. I was kind of just being goofy and making more of a mental thing. Because Adrian's taking care of the business when I'm gone. I went to eBay Open in 2018 in Vegas. Was there for 4 days, maybe 3, can't remember now, but it cost me about a week of sales at least, maybe more. It was my only real vacation since then. I got sick on the plane down there. So I spent at least 1 day in the hotel in bed. Pretty sad. That sucks. I hate going on vacation and getting sick. Last time, I remember we went to Jupiter, Florida, because the boys are into sports. So we went to Jupiter, Florida for preseason baseball with the Cardinals. And I just got like sun sick. I was out in the sun too long, and I was just in bed for a while. I was miserable. I'm ready to kick it into gear. Thank you for the daily motivation. I had a really good sales day yesterday. Nice. I downsized 2 years ago. I still have stuff to sell. Too crowded in my new, smaller house. I've owned a red KitchenAid mixer since 2002. I used to bake a lot, so I had 2 of the stainless steel mixing bowls for convenience. I sold one of them on eBay last month. You're right, people want to buy basic items now, not necessarily high dollar clothing. I know I don't want flashy clothes. Not just there's kind of a couple of things like I've noticed, obviously with the economy, people are going to spend less, but when they treat themselves, they're going to treat themselves with lower dollar stuff. But also, too, we're coming off a big trend of like a lot of the youth who are into all the vintage clothing. They're kind of more grown now. They got jobs, or they're finishing school, or moving. Maybe they've graduated college. But there's been a huge drop off in the vintage clothing market. Also for that, because you'll notice each generation that comes along, it's something different that piques their interest. So I'm trying to tap into what the next one's going to be, but I haven't got nothing yet because I haven't really thought about it. But yeah, the vintage market has definitely, like a certain piece of clothing that would have sold for $200 may not be moving at $100 right now. That's not to say it's everything. There might be still, I haven't checked in a while, vintage concert t-shirts may still be moving and things like that. I'm not sure if they've come down in value. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, concert t-shirts, I know some of the wrestling t-shirts have come down in value. I would think the concerts, but I don't know 100% sure. But anyway, we're moving out of that phase. So it's what are the next kids going to gravitate toward and pick up on? Is it going to be physical media? It kind of feels like that. I don't want to put that out there too soon. It kind of feels like physical media is going to be the next big boom with another generation of youth. Hopefully, because I got tons of it. I guess we'll end here and get to shipping. Let's see. I bet you that those people who talk crap about what you sell probably don't even make half of what you do. And I think they don't understand the power of you not having any money into your inventory. That's a big deal. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, when I was doing that, putting myself in debt, buying all this inventory, buying out stores, buying out collections, I was looking toward the future in the thing of, okay, I can not source for X amount of years and pay it off, and then I've got all this free inventory. I was also, I don't know, I don't want to give a too strong percentage. 90% of the stuff I had in my head that will go up in value over time. And for the most part, I think it's pretty spot on. It might be more closer to 80. But I always looked at it like that, like it's investment. This stuff's going to go up in value. And a lot of it has. A lot of the CDs that used to be like penny CDs on Amazon or whatever, I can sell anywhere from $5 to $10 now. Some of it's still about $4, but there are a big chunk of it that has gone up in value. You've seen how steady my cassette sales are. I haven't put cassettes up in quite a while, yet it's always still number 3 on my top 5 every week. So the only thing that I knew when I was buying it that it wasn't going to go up in value, but I was hoping it would, so I put it in storage, is mid-90 toys. Like action figures and stuff. Like the mid-90s, when it comes to the not every of them, but a lot of the action figure market has literally stayed the same today as it was 15 years ago when I bought it. So that's the only thing I can pull off the top of my head right now that I remember that really hasn't done nothing. And we're talking like those, what's it called? The baseball figures. I can see the box blue, or the card blue. Anyway, you probably know what I'm talking about. But those are the same value now as they were 15 years ago. So And that's probably because of the, there were so many made. More than likely that was the reason. There's one here or there that will probably, that I know has jumped up in value, but other than that, it's pretty. All right, let's do some Poshmark. So first up, we've got sold for $12. We got a Jennifer Lopez blouse, all sparkly and some stuff. $12. On my on my new way I'm doing my CDs and those trays that I showed in yesterday's video, last night's video. I gotta find me a different shelf. That shelf's just not gonna work. I gotta find the right dimensions that's gonna fit them perfectly. They're just leaving too many open spaces on that shelf for my liking. And I don't want to stack them 3 high, because then it makes it hard to get the bottom one out. And so I've got to find a shelving unit that I can move the bars in. That's a tall one. So I got to figure that out. Maybe I'm going to look today before I go to the post office to see if there's something I missed at like Menards. So then I can go pick something up if there is something there, because there's just going to be too much finagling on that, the way that one's set up. So, and they do have one set up where you can get 60 of those, and it's a whole big rack. But it's like delivered, it's about $900, and I'm like, no, I'm not. That would be 1, 2, 3. That'd probably be about $6,000 just for over there. And I'm not going there, because the totes themselves are only about $3 a piece. So I've got to find the right shelving unit that doesn't cost $500-$600. Next up, we've got Women's Bass Pro Hat. That sold for $6 on Poshmark. So I need to get the measurements properly. Let's see if I can figure it out. Figure it out. Oops. Figure it out. Figure it out. A third day in a row, eBay worked. Nice. Hopefully that's fixed for good now. And then lastly, we have... figures that's where this is going. Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Now, when you see this, where would you think it'd be delivered? My first thought would be Lower Missouri, Arkansas. It's going to Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, and sold for $15. If you know music, you would have known. You picture that. You can picture that. Onward to eBay. So I had a nice little 6-piece sale. And then I haven't heard nothing since. That was at 9, so we haven't had nothing in 45 minutes. How long have we been doing this? 35. So that kind of stinkies. Alrighty. Purchase. Let's see how many international we got out of these. One to Australia. And that 6-piece item's going to Malaysia. Haven't sent something there in a while. Malaysia used to be a hot spot for me, sending lots of items. So it's good to see that. All right, first up. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Sold for $10.50, headed to Decatur, Illinois. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. It does look like my, at least overnight, my variety has not come through like it has been. So we'll see if that changes. I'm getting close to that 5%. If something's going to change, it's going to change today and start hit me back down. So we will see. We will see. Hopefully we got past that. Frank Yorkovic cassette tape. So for $4, headed to Waterloo, Wisconsin. Waterloo Sunset. That would be 3. Elaine. Next up, we got Kids in Clay, benefiting the Ronald McDonald House. A Cabela's hat. I guess that's the clay shooting. And I sold for $9, headed to Middleton, Ohio. I think this overnight's kind of reminiscent on, if I didn't have foundation materials listed, I would have had no sales. A Spider-Man hat, a Frank Yorkovic cassette, 2 things. How many of you passed up of those 2 things at a Ben's? Probably a lot, right? A Cabela's hat. Do you grab Cabela's hat? Even if you do grab them, there's tons of them at the Ben's. It's a common thing. So I'm showing you a point here on why I like to sell what I sell. And that's not to say, hey, if I would have spent more time on high dollar or high flip through items, maybe I would have had more sales today. I get that. But this is why I love the foundation materials. So it's more of a point on that. Because what some of the haters don't realize is that's what some people have access to. You know, if you're not as quick in a thrift store because of your leg, it doesn't work right or whatever, you know, and you have to basically go behind everybody, or maybe you're socially awkward and you don't like being in groups, so you kind of just pick up the pieces behind people. This is what this stuff is. And if you're willing to put the work into it, you know, this channel is the results of that type of environment, if you will. Because not only of all the stuff I've bought out in bulk over the years. But the years my dad was here, that's how I kind of shifted. Because I couldn't just go out and spend a couple of hours, few hours out, just hitting various thrift stores searching for those items. I went over to the bins for an hour, filled up cart to 2 carts, and came right back. And then that gave, some Hooked on Classics cassette. Sold for $4.20, headed to Virginia. So I like the fact that depending on your physical condition or maybe even your geographical location, anything is possible. You just have to figure it out. And this is just a channel there's enough channels showing you the high dollar items that sell, right? How many channels are showing you if you have limited options, how can I make money? Next up, we've got Star Wars Phantom Menace, disc only. Sold for $6.30, headed to Columbus, Ohio. And that's the thing too, like right now, I'm happy not hustling, Hustling within itself is hard work. And as you get older, you don't want to feel like you have to hustle every day just to survive. So I'm kind of happy that I am where I am, that I did it the way I did it, that the circumstances led me to this moment. Because if I just want to hang out, which I do most days by myself, and just be like in my nice quiet office with the music blaring, or I throw on the live and do it live or whatever, and just have limited interaction with some of it, because not many people are on my new live channel. Link below. Reality of Reselling. I can just be chill. I don't have to be high-paced, high-strung, I've got to find it to survive type of thing, I like it. It doesn't have to bring in... All it has to do is make me happy. If I got enough money to make myself happy, then I'm fine. And I do. It's been a little less than normal. That's why I had to take a couple of months with no payroll. Well, a couple of months with half payroll in order to get caught back up. But that's not bad for 2 years of dealing with issues. So, Roberta Flack cassette. Sold for $4.20, headed to Florida. So, I better put these on ground. That's actually more like... This sold quick from my new container. Olivia Newton-John, Have You Never Been Mellow CD. Sold for $14, headed to Pleasanton, Kansas. of these. Kind of happy just being chill most of the time. Especially like today, especially the last couple of days, my sinuses has just been beating me down. We got this women's Nike, like, running shirt. With like the turtleneck thing going on here. Actually, it's more like a lightweight jacket, shirt jacket. Sold for $10.50, headed to Detroit, Michigan. And also, too, on top of that, like the point was kind of made, the fact that all the stuff's paid off, you know? It's like I don't have to tie up any money in anything. If the economy gets worse, guess what? I don't have to buy and I can still keep growing. I don't need capital to keep growing my business because I've already been there, done that, you know? That's an achievement. I've got to start realizing that, you know? I got to start thinking like that. Remembering that, convincing myself. I did a lot of work and went through a lot of hustle and a lot of stress to have 5 storage areas filled with paid off merchandise, right? Now I just got to hustle in another form and get the crap listed. Got this like pinwheel colored structure hat. That's sold for $10.50, headed to Jacksonville, Florida. Changing my whole mindset is part of what I've been going through for the last, I don't know, what, 5 months now, I guess? Probably not even that. Probably more like 2 to 3 months. After, you know, really getting over Vern. Well, I'll never really be over it, but when I start, see, just talking about it, I'm tearing up. But just starting to change my ways of thinking, patting myself on the back more now, making more mental me time. Like, it's my time. This is what you've done, James. This is where you've come. You know, trying to give myself that emotional support that everyone needs. And I'm not the type of person that counts on anybody to give it to me, right? I got to give it to myself. I've got to realize what I've done, where I'm at, who I am. And I've always been good at that when it comes to the negative stuff I do in order to fix it. But I've never been good at looking at the positive things. Well, I probably did in my younger days when I was more high confident phase, you know. I don't want to say ego phase, because I think ego is more of a negative term, but having high confidence in yourself. Royal Gorge, Colorado hat. Headed to Newark, Texas, sold for $9.50. So yeah, just trying to be more about me mentally. And then that will help change everything else, you know? Because like when you're depressed or stressed, you know, you put on weight, you can lose your hair, you know, a lot of physical things can happen to your body. Your health can deteriorate, you know? A positive mindset can go a long way when it comes to physical health even. You know? not just mental health, but physical health, the health with your relationships with friends or spouses or whatever, you know, goes a long way. You just got to find it in you to pat yourself on the back when it's necessary. Especially if you don't have nobody else to do it, you know? And I'm not saying I don't have anybody else to do it. I got a wife who just works a hell of a lot, and, you know, she's in her own world. So it's not like it's a negative thing. It's just, you know, she does her and I do me for most of the time, you know. But then, you know, when we do have the moments together here and there, like making a video or something, every once in a while I'll hear something out of her mouth and I'll be like, wow, thank you. You know, like, so that's kind of cool. Dam Builders, Speed is the Object, promo CD single. Headed to Berkeley, California, sold for $10. A lot of my time's trying to make her de-stress from her job every day. So I just take a back seat, you know. Steven. Because one thing I don't want is her being stressed out, because with her health issues, it could turn bad real quick, you know. So gotta make sure she stays relaxed. Got a Remington t-shirt. And that sold for $14, headed to Minnesota. Okay. Had a little flutter. I had one bad about a month ago. Probably the worst one I ever felt. Like, I have these weird things with my heart where it feels like it flutters or something, and it kind of gets me out of breath a little bit. But the one a month ago, it took me a while to get my breath back. That one was just a little one. Okay, that's all the U.S. stuff. Review purchase. As you can see, yeah, our body's trying to recatch the breathing properly. All right. Wake up. Get it back. Not many today. Jason. Jason, that would be Friday the 13th. Stephen. That'd be Stephen King. Shelley. I don't know a lot about horror movies, so. Shelley. Oh, wasn't there a horror writer? Shelley. What's her name? Am I thinking the right person? Mary Shelley? I don't know. What's her name? I can't remember now. Oh, Ray Parker Jr., Ghostbusters. That's kind of Halloweenish. Carol. Oh, Poltergeist. Carol Ann. Mary Shelley. That's the name, right? That was a horror writer, right? Maybe. Novelist. Frankenstein, right? Yes. Okay. All right. So far, so good. All right, there's going to be one that's going to kill it because I don't know Douglas. I don't watch enough horror movies. They don't scare me. I pick them apart when I watch them. I know what's coming. I grew up in the inner city. I know to expect the unexpected. That's what I blame it on, the fact that I can't. When I get scared, though, I love it. I'm like, a person has to do it out of the blue. And I'm like, thank you. Because I love the feeling of being scared. And it's so hard to do to scare me. Leon. I'm not picturing a Leon in my limited knowledge of horror. David. I'm sure there's plenty of Davids out there. David Arquette in The Scream. Donna. Don't know a Donna related to Halloween or horror I can think of. Christopher. Chris. Common names. I'm sure there's characters out there with them. I just don't know them. Elaine. James. I'm pretty horrible. I'm pretty terrifying. So that's your James. All right, 2 international. And it's time to go. Boo, 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 boo. First up, we've got this World Series champion DVD, St. Louis Cardinals. Headed to Australia. Sold for $4.50. Thank you. Please like this video if you're still here. I appreciate it. DVD. Man. Gotta get it back. Get it back now. And lastly, we've got the going to Malaysia. I'm gonna check if any of these need resurface. I'm just gonna do these later. So we got 6 CDs. We got Roxette, No Boundaries, Aaliyah. So tragic, Miss Aaliyah. Something here broke. Maybe so. Maybe I need to change it all. Brian Adams. Cuts like a knife. And it feels so right, baby. Na, 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 na. Another CD from my new CD holders, Charlie Puth. And another one, another Olivia Newton-John. Let's get... Oh, yeah, that one needs resurface. I'll do these later. But those all sold for... I think it was like $17. Let me print up the scan form real quick before I forget. Generation Clash. Generation Clash. Let's see how many international we had in the last 24 hours. Three. That's kind of down from where it was. Generation Clash. All right. No. So 6 CDs were $27. And then the only thing we've had sold since we've started this video is a $10 cassette tape. So started out all right. We're $149. A low end where I like to be at 10, but at least a low end and not even close. So that's a positive, I guess. But we'll see if it continues or not. Like I said, this percentage thing, we'll see if it happens again today. That's a pattern that there's something substance to it, especially being that I've had about 12 days of more consistent and a little bit higher than what it was. So if that just drops off today, that's a huge red flag for me. And that's going to be the final nail in the coffin, is that, hey, something's up with the fact that I get down to 5%, down from last month, and then it jumps back up to 15. So we'll see. It should not, being it's fourth quarter. I'm continually listing stuff every day, and it would be about the fourth time it did it. So that would not be a coincidence at this point. Could have been the first 3. I'll give it that. Try to be skeptical, skeptical but realistic. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the love, support. Vendor link below if you guys are cross-posting or need to. Affiliate link for Giro below also for packaging supplies. Thank you for everybody who has been ordering from me and doing the Vendu. And I will see you all in the next video.